Justin, how did it feel to return to direct the sequel, especially after the success of the first film? And Roan, what was it like to join the cast?
A dream come true. I mean, look, we go into it with the best of expectations. You make a movie thinking it's the best job you can with and with such an incredible cast and the material and everything that of course, when you have the fans cheer you on and the studio recognize it, it's so fulfilling. And especially for it being my first movie, I could not be more proud of everyone that worked on it. So yeah, it was the dream come true.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and then getting to join kind of this like very fun, very successful party already in progress was so great. I mean, like it's kind of nice to get to like to know what you're getting yourself into kind of even though you don't know like the inner workings of it, but knowing
Right.
kind of tonally what the vibes are and kind of having all that backstory is actually really helpful and gives a lot of context to the work that I'm preparing to do. And yeah, of course, there's always like some nerves and stuff when it feels like the first day of school where you're walking around the cafeteria, like, where do I sit? But thankfully, everyone was like, come sit with us. And yeah, because everyone's just so sweet and so welcoming. And I really couldn't have asked for a better group of people to kind of be
Mhm.
coming in about halfway, well, officially halfway
I
through.
second that. Ron,
Yeah.
Ron was awesome.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Is awesome, but was awesome and then
Was
is
awesome.
yes.
You too.
I love it. I love it. So, Drayton suffers an injury that sadly puts him out for months. Have you ever experienced a major setback in your career or personal life, and how did you ultimately overcome it?
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I actually, funnily, we've been talking about, I feel like this has come up a lot, but I got in a really bad car accident about 2 years ago and I
So
suffered a
sorry.
really bad concussion. And I was out of commission for about 8 months.
My
And
God.
yeah, and it was really crazy because it impacted my memory. And I've been acting my entire life, so it's like kind of feels like one of the only things I'm good at. And all of a sudden, I didn't have access to that anymore. So it was a lot of hard work to get back to a place where I could go back to work and be and get to do what I love. But yeah, it was wild, and I really had not been aware of like the impacts of that beforehand. But I'm really grateful for it now because I think it just makes me all the more grateful for my brain and like
Yeah.
and my ability to go do my job and do it well too. That was the big one is I was like, I don't just want to do my job, I want to go back and do it well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And for me it was a spontaneous internal bleed that actually occurred that required immediate surgery. And this was
Wow.
actually 1 month prior to going to university. And it got to a point where we talked to the dean and everything, and we actually had to ask, should we defer a year? And I can just only imagine that, think of your high school friends or you kind of grew up with. Everyone's all going to the same college or different colleges.
Mhm.
And for you to be one step back and facing that reality, it was tough. It was very, very tough. And I think thanks to, amazing doctors, my parents, and my friends who were so supportive, I was set back by a month or two, but
Mhm.
I still made it into the year and I still succeeded. And the lesson learned is to just be and just to live with every moment that's given to you and just be grateful that grateful for the people around you who just lift you up and for the opportunities that come. And so in that time, it really helped me pivot in that period while I was recovering to move from the sciences to the arts.
Mhm.
It was because of that one moment when I
Wow.
realized, you know what? I could pursue this, which is what I was destined to do, or I could pursue the arts, which was my heart and passion. And that accident helped me make that realization.
Wow. Wow. Both you guys, what just wow, amazing like life-altering things that happened to you. I mean,
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason, as they
Absolutely.
say.
totally. Yep.
So while Sideline was based on Tay Marley's book, the second film is being turned into a book, a novel adaptation. If you could adapt any movie into a book, what would it be and why?
Hmm.
What would you like to read that you've seen?
Well, I'll first preface it by saying that's really hard to answer only because I think that screenwriting is such a hard art form, and that like oftentimes whenever I do watch a movie, I do go back and read the screenplay because I'm always so
Yes,
curious, at
I
least
was
from
going to ask you that.
a
Yeah.
director standpoint, like how was the sausage made? What were the key decisions that were made? That were what were some scenes that were cut, or what were some lines of dialogue that were changed?
Hmm.
And I find that it's so enlightening to see that you're not alone. You know, you have to kill your darlings, as it were. And oftentimes for movies and TV shows. And so I don't know. I think that if you were to ask that one question, maybe let me I'll ask the question a bit differently.
Okay.
What's a good movie that would be made as a good book adaptation? That's a different question because it asks how do you use the devices differently.
Hmm.
For instance, in novels, you can talk about the internal monologues, how people think, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that in film and TV. So I think I would love to read Reservoir Dogs by Tarantino
Oh,
because
Interesting.
it's so tense to have all these different perspectives, but you don't
that's
know what's in
cerebral.
their mind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So just imagining what they're thinking about all the different other characters.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the reverse of how I loved reading Game of Thrones or the A Song of Ice and Fire series because it gets into the minds of the characters
Hmm.
that you don't see on screen. So anyway, that's
It's a great answer. What about you?
That's a really good answer. I mean, it's funny. It's top of mind right now. It's hilarious because when somebody's like, "What's your favorite movie?" or like something along these lines, my brain goes blank and I'm like, "I've never seen a movie before in my life." But what are you talking about? Um, but I think I was talking about this show earlier. So it's not a movie, but it's a show. I'd really like to read a book series based off of the OA. Um, because it didn't get a third season and because there should have been so many more seasons of it. This is something I'm very passionate about, but I feel like there's so much in that world to explore. There's so much like all the movement based stuff was so visceral to watch, but I'd love to hear it described and like I don't know. I'd love to have it expanded upon. Like Britt Marling, if you want to write a book series that expands on that universe, I would die. I would be so happy.